Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone, and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
Hello. Welcome to Retro Fandango, episode number 209. I'm Kevin, here with my buddy Richard. In this episode, we're going to talk about things, but before we get to things, let's say hello to the Cartridge Club and congratulations on their new game of the month, Donkey Kong Country 2, Civil War. What's with the Civil War tagline?
That's the more appropriate tagline, isn't it? Donkey Kong Country 2, as in two countries. That's what it makes me think of.
Goodness. And that's it. That's all we got.
Bananas or something.
That's all we got. We don't know anyone else who's doing anything yet. I'm sure there'll be a Beat the Bandy.
Well, that never happens until like a week into the month. You got to drag it out of Matt to figure out what the game's going to be.
He's a busy guy.
Well, how'd you do with the game of the month? You were playing that Berserk.
Oh, I don't know. I got I think 3,000 points, and Duke got 20,000 points, and I gave up. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. So that's how I did. How about you? How'd you do?
I never played it.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I was going to, but my emulation station is currently not hooked up, so and I do not have a copy of Berserk.
It is a fun game.
I played it before. It's good times. I did enjoy it. I just didn't have that opportunity to have it set up so I can sit down and just jump into it whenever I wanted to.
Yeah. All right.
I remember the days of Sequest.
Those were good times. Yeah.
Those were good times. I probably would have enjoyed this one too. But I think Matt admitted to not being very good at Atari games, so I don't know if the next game will be an Atari game.
Well, I've recommended to Matt that he should have a puzzle game on the go, because that seems to be Duke's Achilles' heel. Give somebody else a chance. Anybody else a chance. Enough of this Atari games and Nintendo games. Give him a first-person shooter. See what he would do with that.
I don't think either of them understand how those games work.
Well, Duke has said that he's played the ones on the Nintendo 64, but I think that's as far as he's gone, like the old Quake.
Oh, he might have played Halo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was a Halo guy too. Yeah. So there we go. All right, that's it. That's the house cleaning. Now it's just you and I. We can talk. Right on. What's happening?
I'm sleepy. I'm very sleepy.
How come? You should be sleepy.
I didn't sleep well. Maybe because I was too distracted by all thinking I'm going to get another virus from you, because you infected me last time with your stinking broken washer disease. And I was talking to my wife. I was saying, haha, he had to go out and buy a brand new washer. Our washer's been fine for 9 years. And we put a load of laundry in, and suddenly it just started making that funny noise. It's like the washer goes, goes both ways.
Yep.
It goes boot, boot as it circles around. But then just immediately it went boot, and then it was only going the one way, and then it does the rinse cycle, and then it starts going again, and then it was going normal. It was going like, okay, now it's kind of working right. But when we heard that buzz the first time, we're thinking, okay, should we push it? Should we keep using it, and then just maybe it'll conk out on us, in the middle of a load, and then what are we going to do? Like pull it all out, stick it in a basket, take it to the coin laundry or whatever. So like, all right, let's just beat it to the punch. Went out to the to the shop. They don't have the queen bee, herb bush, whatever fancy machine that you got. They don't have around here. So
No Herbush. Oh, come on.
no, we just got ourselves a washing machine.
What
It
brand?
looks like a big. I don't even remember.
It's not a
The last
Samsung,
one,
is it?
the last one was a Sharp, and that
Oh.
lasted us like 9 years.
Really? I didn't know
Hey,
Sharp made
Kyle.
washers.
I'm sure that all of the brands here in Japan are completely different than what you have access to. Probably the style too. Like your washer, it looks like a washer, doesn't it? It's still like washer shaped, or does it have like a new modern wacky shape?
Most do have that new modern wacky shape. We went out of our way to find one that looks like a washer from when we grew up, like an older
So it
style.
like you go in the top or in the front?
It's a top loader,
Mhm.
and has the thing on the top. We
When
were looking
you
at those
when
photos
when
that you posted. We were looking at them, and the washers look completely different from
yeah,
here.
they look like the one we got looks like a trash can. That's exactly what my daughter said when we brought it home. It looks like one of those stand up, you know, bins that you bring to the curb.
Hmm.
And it's brown. 99% of the washers that you see in the store are white. There's like that psychological association of,
Hmm.
clean things. When they do the laundry commercials, they're always hanging white clothes on a
Yep.
clothesline out on a hill somewhere.
Yep.
The wind's blowing. They like making things white for that. And I can understand if it was like a sleek jet black. People like a lot of, black appliances.
Hmm.
But brown, it seems like such a dated 1970s kind
Yeah.
of a color for an appliance.
That's like my Nona had a brown fridge,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then I remember like there used to be avocado used to be big. My parents had a yellow stove and fridge.
We had, yeah, it was like, I remember appliances that were like cream kind of yellow.
Yeah.
And I do remember my grandfather had a brown dryer, but I thought that stuff was all in the past. And then there was this one,
Coming
and it
back.
just it just happened to be the best price for the best features that we were looking for. Our kids keep getting bigger, so like we had a certain size, and then the capacity for this new one is like 50% more, so we can get more laundry done right away. It's super quiet and everything. Brown. Mm.
I hope it lasts.
Well,
Sauce was wondering if you missed Obi-Wan talk. Nope.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. We no. I haven't
Obi-Wan.
seen it. I don't know anything that's going on with Obi-Wan.
I know what you told me last time.
Right, the kid,
There's a Princess
baby
Leia.
Leia. That's it. Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's only 6 episodes.
Really?
Yeah, and I only know that through Red Letter Media because they did episode 1 through 4, like a video on episode 1 through 4, and then they were going to do an episode 4 through 8 that covered that, but it
Mhm.
only covers 5 and 6 because they didn't realize it was only 6 episodes. They thought it was 8.
No, I thought they showed like, isn't it like 10 to 12 the standard season?
Well, apparently, from what I understand, this 6 episodes of Obi-Wan is even too long for what the material that we're getting. They say it was like a 90-minute movie stretched out into 6 episodes.
Okay.
I haven't seen it myself. I really don't care. I'm off the Star Wars train altogether. I mean, they haven't made a product that I've enjoyed since 1983. I haven't enjoyed a single, maybe the Ewoks cartoon. That's about it. But when it comes to the shows and the movies, I don't enjoy them. So what is the point? All I'm going to do is come on here and complain about it. Who wants to hear that?
Since 1983. There hasn't been anything Star Wars that you've liked since 1983.
Well, I mean, there was the Droids cartoon. I like the Droids cartoon
Okay.
when I was a
And they had
kid.
a bunch of comic books. Tons of merchandise. You don't
There
like their
was
posters?
no, there was that book that they had
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah, that takes place between. Dude, that was okay when I read it 25 years ago or whatever.
I still
thought that
have
was
it.
I don't think I have mine anymore.
It's one of those things that I thought about getting rid of, and then as I'm bringing the bag to the car, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll hang on to that. And it doesn't want to stay, but it doesn't want to go.
Mando is awesome in Kyle's opinion. I watched the first season, and apparently that's the best. And if it doesn't get better from there, I wasn't impressed. And people praise the Clone Wars shows. I've tried to watch an episode here and there, and I don't know. It's just not for me. I just don't care. I don't care for it. It does nothing for me. I wish it did. I wish I could join in on all the happiness and festivities, but what's Sauce say here? I think it's to actually see Vader in action. Is that the Obi-Wan show? Because he's on that.
He was in action in that that Rogue One movie. He sliced up all them rebels.
Yeah, it made for a great clip online. It's like, wow, that's awesome. And then you watch it in the context of that entire slodge fest of a movie. I mean, that movie was just nothing but member berries. It was a member berry movie. Remember this? Remember that? Remember what are those things? Walkers and the Empire and all that. Glad for all the people who like it. Okay, there we go. Star Wars complaint done. Do we have any Star Trek to complain about?
No, because I've been still poking through the original series.
Yeah, I do.
I'm having
see
a good old time.
There's a Star Trek mention in here somewhere.
I was gonna get to that later. We can talk about that now if you want.
Sure, why not?
I just got to that episode, Assignment Earth, where they got Gary 7. You know, the Mission Impossible spy alien technology episode.
So for the people who don't know, this episode, the Enterprise goes back to the 1960s, and they're
just there at the beginning of the episode. They're just we just used the time travel thing, and we're just checking out history.
There was an episode before that where I think they accidentally went back in time, right? And then this time they purposely went back
intentionally. And that's like in First Contact when they say like, oh, follow those Borg. How are we going to get home? We'll just do the thing. We'll do that thing that we're allowed to do in special situations.
Come on, Sasa's he's gonna like this segment. So yeah, they go back to the 60s.
There's a cat in it.
And yeah, there's a mysterious guy with a cat who has these mysterious powers. Some people say
is the cat's name.
And some people say it's like he's really a Q of some sort. But he's an alien that's observing.
No. He's not an alien. He is a human from the 1960s. No, that is his time. But he was removed from Earth by a race of aliens that were unnamed. And he mentions to Kirk that they are still unknown in Kirk's time. So they're like complete mystery. You don't know anything about them. And he is just, they basically took him aside on their planet, gave him a bunch of information, gave him a bunch of technology, and gave him some missions. And his whole Gary 7 persona and everything is that he is going to be stopping these bad events on Earth to make sure that Earth doesn't destroy itself and eventually becomes the paradise that you get in the
Utopia. Right.
Yeah.
And Terry Garr plays his secretary or assistant.
That's right. Oh, how did I not see that? I just watched Young Frankenstein like 2 days ago.
Yep.
How did I not catch that?
I don't know. She's all over that episode.
When I was watching Young Frankenstein, I was like, "Oh, wait, that's his fiance. That's I forget her name, Madeline Kahn.
Kahn, yeah,
who played Mrs. White in Clue.
Okay,
amongst other things. But
yep,
I was like, hey, wait, I recognize her face. How did I completely miss Terry Garr?
So, what did you want to say about this episode?
Well, it's just a big coincidence because recently I have been poking around on YouTube because some stuff shows up in your feed, and it's something about a backdoor pilot. I was like, huh, that's a weird phrase. I don't know what that means. And I was watching it. It sounds kind of adventurous. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, there's all these shows. Like, I didn't know that was the name for the thing because you have your spin-off series from certain shows.
Yep.
You got Perfect Strangers, and then boom, they created Family Matters, a little spin-off.
Mhm.
I didn't know that there was an actual name for when you use an episode of your existing series to kind of push a new show. Suddenly you're watching, and then there's like all these new characters and new locations, and everything is focused on them. And as a kid, I was just confused. I didn't understand why they were
Yeah.
having these weird characters. As you get older, you realize, well, they're just using their audience and their time slot to try to push a new series. And apparently it's called a backdoor pilot. And I was watching some of these YouTube videos on it of how they, different ones I had never heard of before, and some that I was aware of. For example, there's a YouTube video on these. I forget the name of it, but they're talking about all the ones they did on Married with Children because there were 3 different ones, and I remember them all. I was like, wow, they just really keep trying to push another series, and I don't think any of them ever worked.
Yeah.
But then,
So
then suddenly I got to the Assignment Earth episode of Star Trek. It's like, oh, there's another one.
right.
They're everywhere.
So the difference is like these were a lot of them were labeled as spin-offs at the time. I remember like especially All in the Family. It was like the show with the most spin-offs. But to me, like a real traditional spin-off, there's a character on the show becomes really popular and they decide, hey, we can build a series around this character. And so then they start a new series while the old series is still on the air. Not like Kelsey Grammer and Frasier or Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, not like off on once the series is done and then start. That's sort of it's sort of the same thing, but to me, like a real spin-off is like character becomes popular.
There has to be something there that you spin off,
Right.
like the character. Yeah, like you said, the character existed, and then boom, there's Frasier. Now he's out in Seattle doing his talk.
Another way they would do spin-offs back in the day was like you'd be watching an episode of Growing Pains, and Mike Seaver would have to go to the local community gym to get some, I don't know, gym shorts or something like that. And all of a sudden he's meeting all these new characters and all that. And the show is totally not. Mike Seaver leaves at some point, and now all these new characters are the show. It becomes the show, and you're watching it. And you're like, where's the dad? Where's Tracy Gold? Where is everybody? You're just watching this whole other show. And they would do that. It would be an advertisement, right, for a new show that they'd be introducing. And they would do that on All the Family all the time. I think the only true spinoff of All the Family was Jeffersons, because that was like an actual, while the show was on, and the Jeffersons were characters in the show, and they spun off onto, and I George Jefferson, I mean, he only appeared like a very few times. It was mostly Wheezy and the son. They'd be on the show all the time. George Jefferson was always just mentioned like as
they had like his brother would appear.
Yes. That was the first appearance of George Jefferson, and then it turned out that it was his brother that went in, and because George didn't want to show up in Archie's home, and apparently they never met him or something like that, if I remember it correctly. I don't know.
Well, it was all just a workaround because they couldn't get the actor. He was just busy with something else.
Sherman Hemsley,
yeah. Like it was a scheduling conflict. They couldn't get him on, so they would tease his character until he became available.
Yeah, Mary Tyler Moore. Kyle is right. I wouldn't say every character, but there was a spinoff. There was 2 spinoffs of that. Phyllis got her own show, and Rhoda got her own show.
Mork and Mindy started out on Happy Days. They had an
Yeah.
episode
See,
with
now
them.
those are backdoor. Like
Yeah,
Laverne
that's
and
just like we have some new. We want to try something new. We've got an audience. We've got a little money to build a set or something, and like let's just
that's the
try
best
this.
example, because the true spin-off of Happy Days was Joni Loves Chachi. That was a
Mhm.
real spin-off.
Yeah.
But they had the balls to say that Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off of Happy Days, because Laverne and Shirley did show up as characters on Happy Days, but it made zero
Yeah.
sense because Happy Days took place in the 50s and Laverne and Shirley took place in the 70s. Made
They got
zero
older.
sense, but they
They
didn't
got older.
care. And they would also, it would be a
Well,
way to
they were on a date with Richie
right.
and somebody else, and
Yeah.
then so obviously they're in their teens, but by the time they're on Laverne and Shirley, they're
Mm,
grown, independent
mm,
women.
mm. What did we say? Laverne and Shirley cough. What's going on here? I don't know what's going on. Maybe
Anyway, I
it's
thought
it must be a Simpsons reference, right? Both in Milwaukee? Okay. Must be a Simpsons thing. All right. Damn it, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, well.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because I never knew the names of these, and now it's kind of fun to see all the different ones that showed up over the years in different, especially sitcoms. Sitcoms are really big on this.
Yeah. And it's funny, like we watched, when we were watching WKRP, like here's another example where you could tell that they were trying to do a spinoff. I don't know if this episode even actually aired during syndication because I don't even remember it, but it was on the DVDs. And, every episode of WKRP pretty much takes place at the radio station. You'd have a few episodes that might take place somewhat at Jennifer's apartment. But this one was they went to Jennifer. Jennifer was moving into a new neighborhood, and the gang all helped because that's what everybody who you work with comes and helps you move. All comes and helps her move, and then everybody leaves, and it's just Jennifer with her entire, like, all the people in the neighborhood, and you could tell like this was an attempt to maybe start a spin-off.
Yeah.
Like, let's test these characters, see how well they do. That was the other point too, right? Like they would try to, they would take like a Laverne and Shirley, put them in a popular time slot, see if people like them, and if they did, then they might start. They get the okay to start a new show or something.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that.
if you've got the audience built in, then people are tuning in to see this.
Kyle is 100% right. Lou Grant did have his own show. It wasn't a spin-off during the Mary Tyler Moore Show run. It was after. But that's a funny for a while there, Ed Asner, because Mary Tyler Moore Show was a comedy and the Lou Grant Show, which was the spinoff, was a drama. And for the longest time, he was the only guy, Ed Asner was the only guy to win an Emmy in a comedy and in a drama playing the same character. And someone else did it since. I can't remember who. It was on one of the more newer shows, and I don't remember. Yeah, that's right. Retro Fandango is kind of a Cartridge Club spin-off. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is very true.
There was one that I gotta find the video, but there was one that was a spin-off, an attempted backdoor pilot of Chips that was like Karate Cops or something.
Oh,
I watched that video. Yeah, it's just they got the Chips guys there for like a minute, and then it goes to this like secret society, part of the police force, and they're all ninjas, and
yeah.
it's weird stuff.
There's an episode of Dukes of Hazzard that, because Enos had his own show. That's a funny thing too. Is a lot of these shows that they tried to spin off just didn't work, right?
Right.
And Enos was off the show for a year because he was doing his own show called Enos, and it was about Enos going to LA, and it was like a fish out of water story. But there's an episode of Dukes of Hazzard where Daisy drops him off at the airport in the General Lee, because you got to have the General Lee there. Makes no sense why they would bring that thing to
you. Wouldn't know what show you were watching if it didn't show up.
Not. And Daisy says, "Okay, goodbye, Enos," and he flies over and he solves a crime with his new buddies in the But this is an episode of Dukes of Hazzard. There's no jumping around in the Georgia or anything. Enos in L.A. There you go. Those were good times.
Yeah, there was one on Married with Children, because the actor who plays Steve, that character left the show, and then they brought in Jefferson Darcy after a while, and then occasionally Steve would come back. He'd do like a random episode here or there.
I remember
and
that.
There was one where it was he was working at a college, and they were doing like a radio show. And I kind of got excited when I saw that as a kid. It was like, oh, Steve, they're going to bring Steve back. They're going to give Steve something to do. And then, didn't work.
Yeah.
Which means like the guy was, he left the show, but he was kind of regretting it or would come back. I got to get the whole story on why he left, because he still remained friendly with the show.
Yeah. Might be the Tasha Yar thing. Immediate regret.
Yeah, because he did it for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Need to get the behind the scenes on the DVD.
I didn't know that it was unaired, but now on YouTube you can find it. You can see the original Bud and Kelly, because they had shot a pilot with different actors.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, well, you can see why they replaced them, but I'm guessing I don't even know if that's on the DVDs and stuff.
Sauce coming in with a hot take here, says Jefferson was better than Steve.
He was appropriate for the tone of the show at the time. I like them both. I think Steve made sense at the beginning, because it was supposed to be more of a traditional sitcom, even though it was turned on its head. So they needed the traditional sitcom family to live next door. And then things went bonkers. And then by the time they had Jefferson, they had all these wacky things. I like them both.
Yeah, I just hate to see when characters leave a show, but
it is difficult, especially when you're a child.
Yeah,
like that guy. Why is he leaving?
Yeah, why would you leave that plum job? But sometimes it works, like in MASH and in Cheers, you get longevity.
Yeah.
All right, what's the Walker about?
Oh, that's an interesting one. There's a big road down, over there somewhere.
Okay.
and when I need to drive somewhere, I drive on that road.
On the road.
It's like the main road that goes through here.
Yeah.
It's very, very frequently traveled. And, just driving up and down that road pretty much every day, you look around, you see people. And just over time, my wife and I noticed there's this one guy who's always walking down that road. And he's very distinct. He's like a skinny guy, a little older, very slim, hair's very dark, as if he dyes it. And he's got a mustache. He's got a nice mustache. Very few people around here have mustaches. So I noticed him. I was like, oh, there's that guy. And some other time, there's that guy again. There's that guy. He's always walking down this road. And just over time, we started spotting him. Like, where's Waldo? I was like, there he is again. He's always walking down this one main road. And then some time ago, my wife was in what we refer to as the city, the area down by the castle. And she saw him in the city. He's like, oh, there he is. There's that guy. And so now it's kind of a game. We just point him out, and we have to tell each other, like, I saw the guy again today. And since then I've started calling him Walker. And the other day I was meeting my wife yesterday in the city, and I drove out there, and then I was walking towards the meter, and I saw the guy. I saw Walker walking, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to follow him. I'm going to follow this guy and see where he goes. Because I need to know why this guy's always walking down this road. Because it's amazing, because he walks from our area, walking to the city is about a 30-minute walk. And I don't know where he starts, and I don't know where he finishes. So I saw him and I started following him. Not creepy or anything, not in a weird way. But he was going round about the same direction I was going. So I figured, all right, I'll just trail him. and he went into a store, and I went through, and then he ended up going out of that building, and I went out, and then he did the thing. I don't know if he realized I was following him, but he did the thing where he was walking, and then he stops, and then just kind of like looks around, almost as if he's just using his peripherals to check and see. So I don't know if he caught me following him. So I had to, just continue past,
Yeah.
and then go to my destination. I think we went to the same building though.
Oh.
He went to a different entrance, and I don't know. It's just a little game I have now of trying to figure out about this guy.
I had someone tail me home once.
Really?
Yep. It kind of freaked me out. And when I think about it, it was stupid that I actually drove all the way home. I should have stopped in a parking lot or something. But
right, yeah.
I was driving on the highway, and I got off the highway. And from the highway to my house, it's about 15 minutes. And car behind me on the highway, no big deal. And I drive the speed limit because gas is expensive, and I'm in no hurry. So, and there's 2 lanes on Stouffville Road. So if people want to pass me, they can go right ahead. And normally people do, but this guy stayed right behind me all the way down Stouffville Road. Well, that was interesting. And then he continued to follow me all the way through downtown. That was interesting. And then I drove off where my turnoff is, and he followed me there, and then he's like, I'm snaking my way to my house, and he followed me all the way. I don't know, what is this guy doing? So I get in the driveway, and the guy comes out, and I have a big dent in the back of my Honda Fit. I backed into a fence years ago. It was a wooden fence, and there was a piece sticking out, and I couldn't see it from my line of vision. So when I backed up, the piece sticking out hit me. And he's like a auto body guy. And this is like right when the pandemic had just started too, right? So there was a whole thing about germs and the whole bit, and I'm just like trying to stay away. And I'm like, what do you want? He's like, oh, that dent on the back of your, I can fix that up. I can really fix that up. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't really bother me. I don't care. It's just a vanity thing at this point. So he's like, oh, I can make it look really nice, and I can fix it up, and I said, well, the back hatch doesn't work on it. He's like, well, that's going to be a problem. I'm like, it's not going to be a problem for me because I'm not looking to get it fixed. And so eventually I'm like, okay, well, how much are we talking? Like, how much are you charging for this thing? And then I'm thinking in my head, like, $25-50, and he came up with like, I don't know, $400 or $500. I'm like, all right, buddy, good talking to you. You can go. You can leave now.
Hope you enjoyed burning the gas together.
Yeah, all the way from there to. I mean,
this is like the equivalent of the ambulance chasing lawyers.
Yeah, pretty much.
He just follows people with damaged cars.
Yeah,
hoping that he can give them a business card.
Let's see. Kyle says all Bill shows are STC spinoffs. That's true. And this guy, the Walker, refers to Vox as a stalker.
Yeah,
I was
going to make that joke. I thought it was pretty obvious. That's going to be our Fandango spinoff.
I thought the guy was looking for Kevin's Italian cousin. Oh man, I ran into a whole bunch of them this weekend. I had a big family get together this weekend.
Really?
So, yep. Drove up to Sudbury, and first time I saw everybody in years, like before the pandemic. And that was good times. Well, sort of.
Hate being around other people.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of a half funeral kind of thing. So it was it was a little sad, but it's still nice to see everybody. So it's good. It was good. All right.
I haven't looked at the outline. What else you been up to?
Nothing. It's all you, baby.
No.
You got Duke and Chris. You want to say something about those two?
Well, they had their meetup, and I saw a bunch of photos. I saw like cheesesteaks and pickups, and thrift stores, and all that stuff.
What was their take on the cheesesteaks? Did they say?
I didn't get it. I haven't listened to the most recent episode. That's the one they recorded together in the retro room.
Okay.
So I don't know. I imagine all the details are in there.
Okay. Well, I'll have to. I haven't been on the social media lately because I've been a little preoccupied with. I've been off. This has been a vacation week for me, so when you're out of the routine, you kind of forget about social media a little bit.
Yeah, I forget about it for weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Make
All
sure to
right.
check out our Discord.
Yep. It's
It's there.
collecting dust over there, so I want to give it a little help. Okay, so what's the Vox official Museum of Interesting Things?
That if you had listened to the previous retro nonsense, they were talking about their fantasy museums. Did you hear that
Yes.
episode?
I did not hear
Right.
that episode, but I know of it.
Right. So I clicked on it and I was like, oh, okay. And immediately my brain starts going, okay, well, wait, do I want to listen to this or do I want to make my own list? And then I start, I paused it. I was like, okay, yeah, I would have this, I would have this. And of course, I'm thinking in terms of what it sounded like, the description of like you could have items. And I was like, okay, I'd have this item and this item and this item. And then I start listening to the podcast, and then suddenly, again, their rules just change. Remember when they did their favorite cartoons, and Duke's
Yes.
like, oh yeah,
Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Bugs Bunny and
Yeah.
and Mighty Mouse and Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes and all of Disney, and that's my number 2. All
My
of
favorite
those.
cartoon is everything done before 1965. That's
Yeah,
pretty much
and then my number 1 cartoon is Pee-wee's Playhouse.
right. Yes. Right.
So of course this one I'm thinking like, okay, you'd have the Batmobile, and then their rules are, oh no, I'll take the entire Bat Cave, everything that's in there. That's my selection.
Okay, well, I'll take all of
Like,
Disney then.
yeah,
Why
I'll
not?
just take a whole big thing. Which I maybe I misinterpreted the rules. I don't know, but suddenly I was, because I had like a Batmobile on my list. No.
So what were the
everything.
rules? Because I had not listened to it. What
It was just remember when the Narc podcast would do their what's that thing in the sports that they do? What's the thing with the sports when they choose players? Draft. The draft,
okay.
right?
Right.
Narc podcast did those, like, oh, I would get this game, or they would do movies, like I'd get this movie, I'd get that movie.
Gotcha.
So their museum exhibits they would have these things on display. Chris has a museum out in California. Duke has one out in Maryland, and then they're like, whose museum are you going to go to? Who's got the better exhibits? What up, Dane?
Dean Lasagna in the house.
So there was a lot of Star Wars in there, and then some Alien and stuff like that. Pick
So
your stuff.
Recreated a Star Wars museum with the Batcave and a little bit of Alien.
I don't remember if the Bat Cave actually got in there, but that's the example I threw out. But yeah, you have a thing, but you have an exhibit. You build the rest of the thing around it, so you can have as much of that thing as you can get, because they're playing with fake money, so they can get whatever they want.
Okay.
And so yeah, I was going to put together my own. I forget what I called it. The Vox Official Museum of Interesting Things. And
catchy title.
Yes.
Pops. It pops.
Yeah. There's a joke in there if anyone wants to search for it. But if I've only got one exhibit so far, but it's completely interactive.
The Batmobile?
No, you remember there's a little film called The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we have the dude's rug.
Oh.
We've got the dude's rug.
Nice.
And it's right there on the floor. And as you pass by, you are encouraged, welcomed to pee on it. It's completely interactive.
I was going to ask if there was a pee stain on it, but apparently it'll be covered in pee. So.
Oh, yeah. So we'll set it up nicely on a graded floor.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go.
Pee.
Just pee all over it.
All
Maybe
right.
we'll have the printer from Office Space. You can stand out in a field.
That'd be cool.
With a baseball bat.
I have no idea what I'd put in my Museum? I don't
Well,
even. I
you
don't.
can't have any of the things that they picked because
What did they pick? I guess I have to
they
listen to
picked
the
all the
episode.
stuff, all the they got like Millennium Falcons and
I
Darth
don't want that.
Vaders
Yeah, they could keep that.
and Han Solos and Ewoks and Chewbacons and all that stuff.
You know what? It doesn't sound like a very good museum, so I think I'd be okay. I think I'd
Many
have
years
plenty.
ago, I actually did go to a Star Wars exhibit, and they had all the original props, and that was neat.
Yeah,
I was surprised at how tattered and worn Han Solo's belt looked. I was like, that doesn't look like nice at all. That just looks like some belt. I was like, yeah, it's amazing how good these things look on screen when it's just a real thing.
yeah,
It gets worn and tattered.
yeah. Well, of course I've been watching Breaking Bad, and one of the nice things is the wardrobe in those shows because they really make the clothes look lived in. You know, you can tell the show is really cheap when all the characters are wearing just like clean pressed shows because they just
Yeah,
got the wardrobe in what's going to fit this character, and off they go, right? Whereas like Mike wears a leather jacket and it is like worn in, like even if they're just like wearing it in with their hands or whatever just to make it, but they take that extra little step just to make it. Even their vehicles that they choose for every character, it's just really like Mike isn't driving around in a Mercedes Benz or anything like that, even though he makes the money to. But that's not what a
that's not
hitman
his
would.
profile. Yeah.
Exactly. So he always drives around an old Chrysler or an old Buick when his Chrysler gets totaled. So, really.
I think about there was in the Indiana Jones commentaries, behind the scenes, whatever. There's the costume designer from Raiders, and she talks about how his leather jacket. She took like some steel wool, and she was sitting there just like roughing it up, make it look like this guy's been around the world a few times,
Right.
that kind of thing. And then I think about it all the time. I don't watch a lot of the television around here, but occasionally some drama comes on, and Japanese television is extremely strange where the lighting is terrible. Everything is like soap opera lighting, apparently because the elderly community complains they can't see things. So
Oh,
they make things lit really terribly. And a lot of times their costumes, it's just what you said. It looks brand new. Like
yeah.
it looks like we can't mess this up. You have to wear it in every scene. Be very, very careful.
Or not
It
even
has to
mess it
look
up
brand new.
because it's
Yeah.
rented and we have to give it back to the
Yeah,
wardrobe
yeah. Like, well,
so they
this
can
is
use it for
studio
another show.
property. They're going to use it in 17 other shows, and
Yeah.
so everything looks terrible,
Yeah.
which is a real shock because just recently I just turned on the TV and there was some old like samurai drama from 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I'm looking at it and I was like, this looks great. This looks like Bonanza, just with samurai instead of cowboys.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, yeah, it really does look good compared to the stuff now. It's like they used to make it look real. They look like they were out in the dirt walking around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So come to my museum.
Okay. I think I'd go to yours. I definitely want to see the Batmobile, and
I'll have a Batmobile. I'll have the entire Bat Cave.
I definitely
And I'll have Burt Ward.
You can probably get him.
Yeah, he'll just be sitting there.
I don't know.
He'll dust the furniture every night.
Have you been playing any video games lately?
No, why would I?
I have, because I've been on holiday and I've been kind of messing around. And then the big Steam sale happened.
I missed that. I had been ignoring it completely, and then I clicked on something. I was like, "Oh, summer sale! That's right, summer."
Still going. You
Is
haven't
it?
missed it yet. Yes,
Oh,
it's
okay.
still going. So they have like this recommended game thing now that you can go on and it'll look at your Steam list and the hours you put into certain games, and it'll recommend some games. So one of the games it recommended was a game called 80s Overdrive, and it is not a spiritual successor. It's Outrun. It's the old Sega Outrun.
Okay.
But they did it with it's some independent developer or whatever that basically took that formula, and you could play it totally like Outrun if you want, where you're choosing which way to go and all that, and there's a time at basically you got to run out the clock, and see how far you can make it, kind of thing. Choose your path. But they also have a really well fleshed out campaign where you can buy better cars, can get you basically earn money every time you race, and you can put that money into a better engine, better steering, and better bumpers. So every time you crash, it costs you to repair your car. So the better bumpers you have, the less damage your car will take. And I actually played through the whole thing. I don't think it took me very long. I think it was about a 5-hour game or something like that. And just zip through that campaign. It was good times. The end boss in it was interesting though, because the end boss totally can overtake you. He's got this powerful car that you can't even keep up with, and if he gets past you, so basically you have to keep, like, if he comes up behind you, you have to like stay in front of him basically, and if he gets past you, that's it. It's done. So it took me a couple tries, but I got him to stay behind me, and I was able to beat that game. So I recommend that.
Visual. I like the visual. It kind of looks like a point and click 90s game.
It's not. It is Outrun. It plays totally
right,
like
right,
Outrun.
right. It looks like Outrun, but just the still images, they look like a LucasArts point and click.
Well, all the
style.
all the racers, their profiles are all taken from 80s people. Like if you look, there's Marty McFly in there. There's Tom Selleck. There's Mr. T, Cyndi Lauper, the woman from Beverly Hills Cop 2, I think, is in there or something. I don't know. It's
that's what's her name? Red Sonja. What's her name?
I think she's in there.
Oh gosh, this is gonna bug me now. What's her name? Bridget
Nielsen.
Bridget Nielsen.
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, it was only like $1 something on Steam. I saw that it's on the Switch as well, so it's probably like $85 on the Switch with DRM, that whole bit. The whole Nintendo thing. Probably runs at 23 frames per second. Because it does have 16-bit graphics, so I don't know if the Switch can keep up with that.
What is Marlowe Briggs?
Oh yeah, I bought you a game.
You bought me a game?
Yep. It should be on your Steam.
It's on my Steam?
Yeah. So it should be on your Steam. So what I tried to buy you was Far Cry Blood Dragon, because our pal Kyle bought me that game.
You want to hear an interesting story about Far Cry Blood Dragon?
Yeah, it's not available in Japan. We know this.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that is the first episode of the All Gen Gamers that I ever listened to. It had something. The title was something like Blood Dragon something, and then it started me to go. Oh, I'm going to go back and listen to all of these, and that was like right near the end too.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh great, they quit. Why did I do this?
Well, we've talked about Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon before, which is like a spin-off of Far Cry 3, but it's got this whole 80s aesthetic. Michael Biehn from the Terminator voices the main character, and it has all 80s references throughout the whole thing. It's all tongue-in-cheek. At one point you're infiltrating one of the bases with your friend, who of course he's the black friend, so of course he's going to die because that's what happens in every 80s movie, but he's got the smarts So you're like shooting the bad guys while he does the smart thing on the console to shut them down. And he's like, he's saying to Michael Biehn, I don't think I'm going to make it. I want you to tell my family that I died for my country. And Michael Biehn says, no, you're going to tell them yourselves. Just stupid stuff like that. It sounds right, but it isn't quite right. And then, there's these big blood dragons on this island that you have to. You can basically use them to help you infiltrate bases, or you can fight them or whatever. There's a whole bunch of different ways to play. It's like a Far Cry game where there's a base you can go in either stealth, you can go in guns blazing, you can shut down their shield so it lets a blood dragon in, and the blood dragon does the work for you. It's good. It's a good game. So I had played it before a long time ago on the PlayStation 3. I think it was one of their PlayStation Plus games, but I don't have PlayStation Plus anymore, and I saw it on sale there on Steam, and I'm like, I'll put that on my wish list to think about buying later. And then of course Kyle went ahead and bought it for me, the jerk, because I want to pay him back. I'm like, oh, thank you, Kyle. I'm gonna go and pay you back. And this happened to me before with Kyle. I go over to his Steam, and he's got no games on his wish list.
Nope. It's a shot in the dark.
The last time this happened, I said, screw it, I'm going to buy him a game. Anyways, I'm going to get him Broforce because that is a good game, and I think he would really like it. Game. And I gave it to him, and he's like, oh, thank you. I already have this, but thank you anyways. He had it on some other platform, not on Steam.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not doing it again. So, Kyle, you got to put something on your wish list so I can pay you back because I would really like to. Anyways. So I'm back in Blood Dragon, and I'm playing that again. And then I tried to buy that for you. So I'm like, Richard really needs to play this game. And I remember you bought me a game. So I'm like, maybe I can. I remember you saying it wasn't available in your area, but maybe I can buy it for you. And then that'll, because I got it for you, it'll work in your area. But I went in, and right away it said, you're trying to buy this game for a person who doesn't live in an area that can play it. You're just wasting your money or wasting your time.
I thought you were going to say you're trying to buy a game for a person who's not going to play it.
Well, that too. I think you would have fun at least with the opening credits and a little bit of it anyways, because it is a little bit open world, but it's a very small map. It's not like too much. I find it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the thought.
So, and that didn't work. So then I ended up getting you Marlo Briggs instead, which is a game I bought for myself as well. So it's a hack and slash in the vein of God of War. But again, it's all in this 80s aesthetic where, it's all tongue in cheek 80s stuff where the guy gets impaled with a sword, and the sword has some sort of magic power that brings him back to life. And now he can, has all these kung fu moves and everything, and he can beat up. It's not a great game, it's not a well flushed out game like the God of War, the original God of War games are. Polished, I guess. It's not as polished, but it's still fun, and it's got that. It's short. I think it's only 6 hours to play it.
You're hitting all the beats there. Short.
Yeah, and it was only $1, so what the heck?
Thank you very much. I'm not entirely sure that it went through because I don't see it, but I do believe you. I don't know how to check my.
It should come up. Maybe it's in, that green box up top that says there's stuff in your inventory.
The little envelope.
Yeah, it might be in there. I don't
know. I got zeros here.
Maybe it didn't work.
I'll look through it. Maybe
it didn't work. I don't know. All right.
But thank you very much.
Kyle says Blood Dragon's recommended even if you're not into shooters. And yeah, I agree with that.
That's a big series, though. Why would that not be available here?
I don't know. I don't know if it has.
Cry. There's a whole bunch of Far Cry stuff coming up. Far Cry 5, Far Cry 4, Far Cry New Dawn, Primal 3, but no Blood.
I don't know.
Or do you have to have Oh yeah, it's here. Am I in Japan still? Is this,
You're in Japan.
No, like I mean my account.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, that comes up here. I don't know. It might. Oh, look at this. Here we go. By Far Cry 3. I can't say that. The title I have is Blood Dragon Japan.
There must be some changes in it then.
They might have changed a few things, and maybe they thought, oh, nobody's going to get all these 80s references. Let's just completely change the story.
Maybe. I don't know.
I
I don't know, because those 80s movies are pretty big in Japan, I think.
Could be. I don't know. Or maybe, is it a very violent, gory game?
Sort of. Like you're fighting mostly cyborgs and you rip their hearts out as currency. And you can throw the hearts to distract the blood dragons.
I don't know. I'm watching the trailer here, and the guy is like, it looks 80s, and there's dinosaurs, and the guy's flipping the bird and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's totally the game.
Yeah.
And so you play a cyborg, and the entire game you play through like these scan lines, right? Because the way you would see is through your robotic eye. So of course there has to be scan lines.
Huh. Yeah, here, let's see. Far Cry Blood Dragon Japan differences.
This is
Blood.
what people tune in for. Well, listen to Richard search
Yeah.
things on Google.
And I'm not getting any immediate answers right away. So abort. There we go.
I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't know. I do not know. They do
Like
their
there's
things.
no I don't think there's any like nothing is like commercial. Like there's no what's the word I'm looking for? Like there's no music that's copyright or
anything. I don't know. There might be some small change. It could be something very, very minor. But
because the music in it is very like you'll be going around and you'll hear like music that's very like much like The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, or like it's all done in that style, and then there's just a whole bunch like Terminator. You kind of get like Terminator music sometimes, I don't think it's the actual song, so I think they're all like sound alikes, but whatever. So there you go.
Whatevs. It could be one of those things like how they had to change the name of the Mega Drive to the Genesis because locally there was something. So maybe there's like something in there that it's like, whoa, but we got something here that's like this. And
well, what about the title Blood Dragon? Like, is that a bad thing in Japan? Because Japan, they like dragons, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. It could just be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just a simple caveman.
What's 300 versus Glory? This is not a fair fight for 300, let me tell you.
It is not, no, because I saw 300 years ago, and I was like, I was expecting more. All the hype this movie gets and everything, and I was like, I thought this was going to be better. And, I kind of sat on it, and then, all right, let me try it again. Let me sit down and watch this thing with a fresh set of eyes, now knowing what it is and not having super high expectations and just looking for entertainment. I'm not looking for anything great, just as entertaining. I sat down and I watched that movie again, all like 2 hours of it. Man, it's still boring.
Is it?
That movie is boring. It's got a couple of like, yeah, all right, that's an iconic scene, whatever. I remember seeing that on the trailer, and people like saying that this is Sparta Line and stuff. And,
yeah.
But it's pretty boring. Even the action is boring. It's all that swirly, twirly, spin around and zoom in and slow down and start up and all that. I don't know. The whole movie is just, we're great warriors. Let's fight. and we're gonna give our lives, and that's what happens. There's no twists, there's no turns. It's just another. All right, here's another fight scene. Characters don't change or grow or learn anything. It's just we're awesome. We're gonna be awesome fighters, and they fight, and it's over.
Well, Ross is with you. He doesn't like this movie either.
Yeah, it's not a terrible movie.
Mm.
It's perfectly watchable. There's just nothing there.
I don't really remember that much of it. I only watched it the one time. I picked up the Blu-ray for dirt cheap, and I haven't watched it again.
Yeah, it's not great. I saw the sequel, and that wasn't great either. I couldn't even tell you anything about that one.
Yeah, I don't think that
But
was
I can't say it's worse. It's just more of the same.
So
if anything, the second one's a little more interesting because they got boats.
Is that a Zack Snyder movie, or who did that one?
Zack Snyder directed this first one, and he just produced the second one. But man, it's just for what it is, and they go into all the we Spartans are taught to ignore pain and all this and everything, and then the first fight, the guy gets a scratch on his arm and he goes ah, and then he angrily attacks the guy. It's like I thought you're supposed to ignore that stuff. I thought you're like happy to die in battle. I don't know. It's not a great movie, and even the visuals aren't too impressive nowadays. Like, there's so much green screen, and it kind of looks like green screen now. But then the next day, I was watching Glory, which also has hundreds of soldiers on either side, and then they do some distance fighting, and then they get all close and smash into each other, and that fight scenes in that are great. There's like no competition. They actually had hundreds and hundreds of people in costume. And when they're fighting, it feels real. There's people that are in danger and people getting killed and they're hurt and they're scared but they're determined. And, it's like no contest here. That 300 is way overrated.
Yeah.
That's it. I just wanted to complain about. I don't think there is a Zack Snyder movie that I enjoy. I thought I enjoyed 300 at least a little bit, but now it's like, no, don't.
What else has Zack Snyder done? He's done the
all those DC Justice League, like Justice League, the one we watched, that longer one, the Snyder cut, which is better than the theatrical one, but still not there as a finished film. He did Watchmen. I know I saw that.
Right.
And I remember thinking, all right, it's pretty good. I'd rather read the comic book. I haven't sat down to watch it again.
Oh, he did Sucker Punch.
That was garbage. That. I couldn't finish that. He did
Army of the Dead.
That was garbage too.
Army of the Dead Las Vegas? Was that any good? And it's not Las Vegas, it's Lost Vegas.
Is that like a sequel?
I don't know. A TV series. Rebel Moon, The Fountainhead. These are all announced. Okay.
So he likes the visual of like the look how great this is.
Wow.
There's nothing there.
Snyder cut of that stupid Justice League movie was absolute pretentious BS. 4x3 might arse. All right, well, he's done. Well, he did do the video, ZZ Top's World of Swirl. He did that music video back in 1994. So,
is that what got him into doing movies?
Well, there was a trend there for a while where they were taking guys that did music videos and gave them like a stab at doing directing. There's a whole sleuth of them, and I guess he fell into one of them. But there's a big gap between when he did music videos and then he directed Dawn of the Dead in 2004.
I did see that one. I know that one. That's probably more watchable than 300.
With 300 and Watchmen, those were, I guess, the ones that put him on the map, and then DC said, all right, let's give you Superman, let's give you Batman, let's give you the Justice League.
He did a whole bunch of comic book stuff. And
speaking of Justice League, I don't even know if you want to talk about this, but what's with that guy that plays the Flash? I can't remember his name. He's got like some weird
Ezra something or other. I don't know the full story, but I see the headlines. Like he's some kind of whack job or something now.
Yeah, like he's a pedophile or something. I don't know.
I
Like,
didn't hear that part. I don't know.
Well,
all I know is that anytime they like one of those headline clickbait thing comes up, and he's always dressed all weird, like he's like doing costumes or something.
Well, Sarah asked me who he was, and I'm like, I have no idea. And then I had to look him up, and I'm like, oh, the Flash guy. That annoying guy is a nurse in real life, I guess. I don't know. Allegedly a nurse.
I really don't know anything about him.
Yeah,
I don't click on them.
Well, for
what
me,
I did.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say what I did click on is just last night. Cult of Chucky became available on my Netflix.
Nice.
So I was like, hey, I'm gonna watch that, and I enjoyed it.
Cool.
It's a little sloppy, but
yeah,
it was fun and creative. A lot of interesting visuals in that movie. A lot of interesting color choices. Lots of pseudo black and white, sterile environment of the clinic, the hospital she's in, and then other scenes are very warm. Lots of creative shots. Interesting things.
Oh, yeah. Kyle says he thinks that guy is also in the Fantastic Beast movies. I did see that. I don't know what a Fantastic Beast movie is.
That's the Harry Potter spinoff.
Okay.
There's the Harry Potters, and then there's J.K. Rowling. She wrote this book, like Fantastic Beasts, which is set in the Harry Potter world, like all the weird magic monsters.
Okay.
I read it. And then they made movies out of it. I haven't seen them, but I know what they are.
Well, I imagine your daughters might be into all that stuff. Is that their...
I think maybe they saw one of them movies. I don't know. They like dragons and stuff. It was fun.
Well, there you go. For me, all I've been doing is watching Breaking Bad. Nothing else. The past 2 weeks, just trying to plow through that series. We're on the almost the final half of the last season.
Did you get when is the episode where Jesse's buddies what the animal
Skinny
name
Pete.
Skinny Pete and I know this Badger,
yeah.
Badger, which is the one where they're sitting around and they're talking about the Star Trek episode that they wrote.
Yes.
Is that Breaking Bad or is that Better Call Saul? It's Breaking Bad.
Breaking
right?
Bad, and I believe
towards
that
the end.
Is it? Or now I'm getting confused.
Well, I know. Is that when they have like the captain's chairs?
No, they don't have that yet. Okay, I'm not there yet. But
I always think of that when I sit down to watch an episode of Star Trek. I think about them pitching their ideas. Like, I got a great episode. I got in.
That Skinny Pete guy
doing a pie eating contest.
The episode that we watched. We watched like 4 episodes yesterday. One of them we watched. Well, it was the day before Canada Day. Happy Canada Day, everybody! And we're on vacation, and we watched 4 episodes. And they're like only 45 minutes or so each. They're not like that full hour. So
are they really?
Yeah. So they kind of like.
Well, yeah, because
quickly,
right? Because it was what network was this on?
AMC.
And they are commercials.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although the Better Call Saul, they run that over all the time. Like Breaking Bad is very like the first season's only 7 episodes, and then like they're all like, I think they're 13 episodes until the final season. Then it expands to 16. Whereas Better Call Saul, it's like, much more rigid in its layout. Like every season's 10 episodes, and they all expand over an hour, I think. Anyways, there was one episode where they Skinny Pete and Badger needed to get these roadie cases
Yes.
to move equipment, crystal meth equipment for the guy. So they go into a music store, and it opens with Skinny Pete just playing on the piano like crazy. Like he's a really skilled keyboardist. Like it's no joke, man.
Yeah, they just sometimes they find a way to work that stuff in.
Yeah, it's
It's
just funny. You
like
get
Dana Carvey in Wayne's World. He had his
yes,
drum solo.
I like to play. Yeah,
Ding.
absolutely. So yeah, they did. That's kind of what they did in this. And it's kind of just funny because you look at these actors and you just think, well, they're just a burnout because that's what you see them, but they're actually acting. They're not really.
Right. So you got the actor's actual thing, and it helps the character along.
Yeah,
What
well,
was
it
Skinny
also
Pete like before he became a burnout?
well, it also played into their cover that they were buying the stuff for music equipment, right? Not
Yeah.
like you would hopefully one of them would actually have some sort of talent or whatever, because Badger had absolutely zero talent on the guitar.
Badger, it's hard to see past his character.
Yeah,
He's very
that's what I'm
effective
trying to say.
of being Badger.
They're so well done in the show that it's sometimes hard to see past their characters. And
Mm-hmm.
but I will say it's a little difficult watching Saul in Breaking Bad because his character has developed so much in Better Call Saul that to go back to, and I'm sure that they're going to do this before the show Better Call Saul wraps up, and regress the character. But he's so advanced in the show, he's so it's kind of weird to see him, regress back to, just kind of the sleazeball character that he is. Because in the show, he's
Well,
kind of moved on from that.
there's got to be some intention behind
Yeah,
how he portrays that persona, and I'm sure
I'm
they'll kind
sure
of
it'll
work that
happen
in.
too because
Yeah.
everything else is so well done. I saw that people were complaining on, for instance, on Obi-Wan, that Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fight, whereas in the movie, the first film, they allude to this is the first time that they actually have seen each other since Darth Vader had left him. When I left you, I was but the learner, now I am the master, kind of thing. And here they are fighting each other, and it's kind of like throws that continuity out the window.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time that Saul meets Walt and Jesse, he's like talking about Lalo and the whole bit, like everything that's happening in Better Call Saul. And it's like every line of dialogue that he says, and it's all stuff that's in passing. It's not like
Well,
they're throwaway lines.
to be fair, that's the kind of stuff we complain about with some of these other franchises, like Han Solo shot first and all that stuff, and then in the Han Solo movie, it's like, okay, you got to do the Kessel Run because he said Kessel Run. You got to do this because he said this, and they take all that. It's just it was done better. It's just they handled it better.
I'll tell you the difference is it's not like as if, okay, this line has become iconic, so now we got to let's make a something about this line because it's something that everybody knows. This is what I'm saying. It's a line of dialogue that Saul says it's completely throwaway. You don't
It's
even
the
they
same.
wouldn't even have
That's
to.
the same as the Kessel Run. It's just because
No.
as a film,
Let
there's
me finish my
only
point.
so much time,
No.
so
Let
there's
me
only so
finish my
many
point.
lines.
Let me finish my point. The difference is that it's a throwaway line that you wouldn't even have to do. They wouldn't even have to make that effort to back up what he says in this new show. It's just done, for people who are really paying attention. Like if you're really paying it, like I couldn't remember what Saul first said to Walt in his first appearance when I started watching Better Call Saul. I had no idea. But then when you watch it again, it's like, oh, everything he's saying is actually happening in the show. I think that to me that's a big difference.
Oh, it's probably done much better, and the fact that you can enjoy both products.
Kim is
Don't
probably
say
the reason
anything.
he
I
goes
didn't
back,
watch
right?
the final season yet. Don't say anything.
He's not. He's not. It's not finished yet. Better
But
Call
I
Saul's
don't
the mass
know. I
custom
don't
tool.
know.
He's not. He didn't say anything. All he said was Kim is
I
probably the
saw a
reason he
name.
goes bad.
That's a spoiler.
That's oh my goodness.
That's a spoiler.
Okay, here's why I'm going to disagree with Kyle. Breaking Bad has a perfect finale. I did not like the finale for Breaking Bad.
I'm okay with the whole way the show ended and everything, but to be honest, that whole final season
Of
just
Breaking
doesn't
Bad?
sit right. Yeah. I once the previous season ended, it wrapped up so many things. All the things that were building
Yes.
kind of came to an end. And then it's like, okay, now the new adventure of Walter White begins, and it only goes a season. And it never felt, I didn't like any of the antagonists as much as the ones they had from the previous 4 seasons.
I'm going to disagree because the idea was that Walt was working for Gus Fring in season 4. Now is Walt going to take that step to actually become Gus
Right,
Fring?
I get it, but
And
I
I got
knew
to say,
what
I'm
was
digging it.
coming.
I'm digging.
I knew it was the arc they were going for, and that's kind of what it was going. Like he's becoming the kingpin, right?
Yes.
And I get it, but I never liked those neo-Nazi antagonists. They weren't likable villains that you wanted to see more of. Gus Fring was he was the whole reason to tune in at certain points.
All right, so Kyle's pushing back. He says very few shows wrapped up everything as well. Okay. I'm not gonna say it didn't wrap up things well. It did wrap up things well. It's the way it wrapped up that doesn't sit well with me. And I don't want to get too spoilery into Breaking Bad because I believe it's a show that everybody should watch, and I just don't want to spoil it. I don't believe that Walt deserved what he got at the end. I don't believe.
Well,
Especially,
you do like his character. You do sympathize with his
I
character.
don't. This time
But
around, I am not sympathizing with
he
Walt
does
at
a
all.
lot of bad things.
I am not sympathizing with him at all. He's gone way too far. I sympathize with Jesse, and I gotta tell you, I know you said you in the past you're on the record saying you didn't like Skylar. I'm really enjoying her character this time around because
when you're on Walter's side, then you don't like Skylar. But if you're not sympathizing with him, then I can totally understand because Skylar is the one who's doing the right thing.
She's trying to. And then she's gone from being betrayed by Walter because she was pregnant and he's off doing this crazy stuff. So she goes from being betrayed to being, okay, let's try to make this work with the car wash and everything, to he's becoming more and more, the more deep he gets, she's afraid. She's afraid for herself and her family. It's so great. It's so well done. Let's look at Sauce here. Skylar sucks. No, she doesn't.
Yeah, well, I understand the perspective because you are following Walter and Jesse and their shenanigans, and they end up doing a lot of terrible things. But at the same time, the series is developed in a way that makes you like them, and you want to see them succeed even when they're doing something bad. But voice of reason, snap back to reality. Yeah, Skylar's got the right idea.
I don't know. Sauce is saying that she's a garbage. She fucked it. She's a garbage. Okay, so first of all, she thought that Walt.
I always wondered, that was a nice little touch because the title of that episode, I think, is IFT.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, what is IFT? What is
their
IFT?
titles?
And then you get to the last lines.
Their titles are all usually on point. Like the one Gus Fring's final episode, the title of the episode is Face Off. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I don't think Skylar is a garbage person though, because okay, at first she thought that Walt was cheating on her, and she did do some very immature things, like
Mhm.
for instance, having an affair with Ted because she was trying to get back at Walter because she wasn't in on what was happening. But once you got past that, her character was very much. I agreed with the stuff that she tried to do, and she tried everything. She was trying everything, and I really sympathize with her. The whole stuff with Ted was a mistake. I think she would admit that too. Here comes the Star Wars defense with Dean. For the record, Kenobi clears up the continuity gaps between. Let me let me read this right. For the record, Kenobi clears up the continuity gaps between Episode 3 and Episode 4. The people who are complaining didn't watch the show. Yeah,
I'm still your friend, Dean. Do not let Kevin ruin the
I
experience.
still watch the show. For the record. No, it's fine. Look, I didn't watch the show. I don't know what's going on. I'm just saying I don't think it makes sense for Kenobi and Vader to be fighting at all. That should be the first time they meet, but whatever. Episode 3 was garbage too. I watched a Russian dub of that movie once. That was it. I couldn't stomach
A
another.
Russian dub?
When Episode 3 came out, I said the first time it goes, I'm not spending any money on this stupid movie. I went to the theater 3 times to see that dumb Phantom Menace. I went to see it to the theater twice to see that dumb Clone Wars. Was that the second one? Attack of the Clones? Attack of the Clones. Twice. Third one comes out, I'm not spending a dime. So the first time it showed up on Pirate Bay,
RS, yeah.
I downloaded it. I burnt it to a disc. It was a guy with a camcorder in Russia with the thing pointed at the screen, and there was Russian subtitles. And that's how I watched it. And that's the only time I watched Episode 3, and I will never watch it again. It was there you go. He's got it. Forgot actually. There you go.
Actually.
For the record. I like For the Record better. That's a very Dean thing. I'm teasing. It's all good. Enjoy your Star Wars. Everyone loves the Star Wars. Go for it. There you go. Everyone hates Skylar. What's going on here? Come on. She was good.
Well, there was that part of you that wants to see her say, you know what? I'm in. Let's do this and become like a whole crime family.
She did, though. She did.
Yeah, but
try that.
She did not in the way. Yeah, she tried it.
Well,
She
okay.
didn't blindly jump into it. She didn't have the ego that Walter had.
Well, first of all, Walter wasn't telling her everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't know exactly. At first she thought Walter was the cook in this organization, and he had coworkers and bosses and all that, because that's what he told her, right? Was that like he's just a low level guy? He's not in it as much as he is. So she's like, okay, and then she thinks that he is getting out of it. So that's where she started the whole car wash thing and everything. She tried everything she could do. And then he's, in season 4, he starts with this I am the danger bullshit and everything. He's like, what more do you want from the woman? I'm telling you. She was very well written, that character. I really like the way that they write female characters in these shows. And Skylar, you get my nod of approval.
I had to go back to that. What is this Seinfeld cut of Revenge of the Sith?
I have no clue. Seinfeld cut of Revenge of the Sith.
It sounds fun.
Well, I must
watch
YouTube?
it. Is that a YouTube?
I've heard that Hayden Christensen. So they actually put him right in the Darth Vader outfit for that show. But he did it for
the movie too. Like they stuck.
Yeah, I guess so. But he's too short. Like he's not David Prowse tall. So there's a lot of like low camera angles and.
I never really thought about that. Until, like, I know it's become something that, again, those clickbait articles, but I guess that's at the end of Revenge of the Sith when he's becoming Darth Vader, they're putting new legs on him.
Yeah.
And I guess people are saying, like, the legs were really long to make him taller.
Right, yeah. Remember, when Jerry Phillips Sauce's humor is very, like, dry. You gotta, like, decipher it.
I was hoping there's going to be like a Revenge of the Sith, but with all the Seinfeld transitions and laugh track cut down to 20 minutes.
That would be good. Oh, look at this. Everyone loving the Kenobi show. You guys go for it.
I
All right.
definitely liked it. Yeah, it's over, huh?
Yep. Yep.
Well, I guess I don't know. Is what's his face? Ewan McGregor. He still has a somewhat movie career, or is he? So he
Yeah.
doesn't want to do TV exclusively.
Well, that was the big get that they got him to star in this, because he's probably like half the budget for that show alone. Because I don't think Hayden Christensen's doing anything, right? I don't think he is.
As far as I know, he hasn't done anything since Jumper, which was like his big failure after the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, but Ewan McGregor, I'm pretty sure he's still legit, as far as I know. What do I know?
He was in. My kids just watched that Jack the Giant Slayer movie from about 10 years ago. He was in that.
Dean says he just finished Long Way Up, which is a terrific documentary. Sarah says supper's ready in 10 minutes.
Ooh.
So better get going. It's Canada Day supper too. So
what are you doing? What's special about Canada Day supper?
We're having Mexican.
All right.
That's right. Nothing says Canada like some tacos.
That's
all right. Don't forget to help us dust off the Retro Fandango Discord and go over there and check it out. If you need a link, hit me up. I'm on Twitter, or hit Retro Fandango on Twitter at retro_Fandango, or you can hit me up at Canadian Grooves on Twitter, or you can hit Richard up at the Rambox, and he'll tell you to ask me how to get the Discord shortcut to you.
I know how to do the Discord thing.
Do you?
Yeah,
you can share. You can share the link to Discord. Do it right now in the chat. Do it right now in the chat. Let's see.
I thought you meant, can I access it? Like, I know how to go there.
I think
I know how to stare at the posts that was posted like 3 months ago.
I think someone just said something in the chat. Oh yeah, Dean just posted an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, Ewan McGregor in the chat in Discord. Good job, Dean. All right, that's it. I think we're done.
Wait, I'm still trying to Discord. Hang on.
You don't have to.
I see it. I see Obi-Wan. I see it. Look at that. I'm in on the topic.
Kyle's calling you out. He's saying you are MIA from Discord.
I've been watching Star Trek. What's going on in the Star Trek Discord?
They're just talking about that stupid new shows. You know. But yeah, apparently I forgot. Kyle mentioned that Gary 7. There is a Gary 7 like character that shows up in the new Picard.
Really?
Yeah.
Gary 8.
Yeah. Because they talked about that on Red Letter Media, how they brought back that guy. But it's funny that was the episode. That was like an episode like that is what they brought back into Picard, because it was actually meant to spin off a new show. So like that spin off of a new show.
Well, you can't offend anybody, right? Like if they keep touching all like the true Star Trek stuff, and everybody says, "That's not good. Why'd you do that? Hey, you're ruining it." All right, let's try Gary 7. Nobody cares about this. You can't touch that. That was a great idea.
With the cat.
The cat, and he had his little office. The thing would open up, and whenever he would like transport, he'd just appear in a doorway out of like mist.
Yeah, I think that probably would have made a pretty good show. I think for the 60s.
The lead was a little stiff, but I guess that was the time, right? The secret agent guy.
You had to be stoic back then, right?
Well, yeah, and they had the balance of his goofy secretary who wasn't part of the whole thing, but he just told her everything.
Yep.
Sure, help me out.
Yeah. All right. That's enough. Thanks everyone in the chat. Dean, Kyle, Ryan, aka it's Rocket Sauce. We had the llama
Llama was in there.
And Sarah told me that supper was ready. That was it. That was
And the
good.
dinner call.
Good times. All right. We're going to end the broadcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.